Namaste, everyone. Hey, this is Priyanka Deo. I am so happy to be on this podcast because I have been trying to pull this girl to do a podcast with me. And I'm super jealous because she looks super gorgeous and I look like literally a bum right now, which is apt for our topic, right? So, Tanya, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience?
Hi everyone. My name is Tanya. I am a lawyer and I specialize in white collar investigations and I'm working in a law firm in Delhi. Lovely meeting you all.
So they'll keep coming, they'll keep coming. And then Tanya, I think you can see all the comments on the side of your screen. So feel free to like chat as we chat. So why I
Uh-huh.
said that I think I'm dressed more aptly than you for this podcast is because the topic is jobs for lazy people. Okay, so I have read this website and you can go to funerals and get money for it in the US. Like you can be a professional mourner.
Yeah.
And they get paid up to 150 US dollars per funeral. And
Mm-hmm.
some people make like a lot of money because they just professionally, like they just buy a black wardrobe over there and they just
Uh-huh.
go and mourn, or they buy a white wardrobe and they go and mourn at funerals. And this
Yeah.
has been a job actually for like the last 50 or 60 years. So it's not like just a new thing that people have created, right?
Uh-huh.
Another, what else did I see? I know there's this TikTok trend, right, Tanya? Like we were talking about it a little bit before, but there's this TikTok trend of jobs for lazy girls where these
Yes.
girls are going on TikTok and they're
Uh-huh.
basically bragging about like, hey, I'm just chilling in my living room and it's like 1 p.m., right?
Uh-huh.
So do you want to go ahead and explain this TikTok trend to some of our users because they may not know what it is?
Yeah, so in fact, I read about it quite recently when we last had a chat about it, and I was
Yeah,
quite
it just started
surprised.
trending as well. Yeah,
I
I've
was
not heard of this before.
surprised. Yeah, to see the kind of jobs. I mean, no offense to anyone. I mean, you do you, right? Like, if it works for you, great. But I mean, there are some really cool job descriptions. Like, you can be a professional foreigner, or that's what it's called as a description that you just be a continuously just be in a country and be a professional foreigner and you get paid for it,
Yeah.
which is quite cool. I think the more subtle lazy girl jobs, or not really lazy girl jobs, but I'd say not so quintessential jobs that are there are like be a professional shopper. That's something I came across recently, wherein you
I
just,
would love,
you know,
girl, I would love that. I would love to be a professional shopper. Like, come on.
how
As long
cool
as
is
it's not in a grocery store.
that?
I hate grocery shop. I know some people love it, but like, and
Yeah,
no offense to all of you, but like, as long as it's not a grocery store, I will go into a mall all day. And if I'm getting paid for it,
exactly.
but oh wait, technically, Tanya, that's not a lazy girl job, right? Because you have to walk
It's not.
around.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. That's what
So
I
it's
said.
like a
It's not.
level
It's like
level one lazy
level
job,
two. Yeah.
lazy
Yeah.
girl job.
There are
Um,
some jobs wherein you just sit and you just sit and just like chill and you get paid for it.
yeah,
Just to
yeah.
exist.
No, see, like there's another point of it, right? Like there's a more, I guess some of the people that didn't make fun of the trend or that didn't find it like, I mean, there is another side to it, the
Mhm.
lazy girl, the lazy girl job trend, I guess, which says that basically, jobs these days, like we're anyway on it. Like I know some of my friends, they wake up in the morning and they like just check their smartphones right away, like the minute that they wake, and that's super bad for like your eyes and whatever. But that's a
Uh-huh.
whole other topic, right? So
Right.
we are on like our smartphone or some gadget or the other in our spare time at work, obviously. Like I don't know
Mhm.
anybody who now even functions without at least some like online activity, like even if
Right.
it's
Right.
just check in or check out, right? That's also done kind of online. So everyone has this like digital footprint right now. But like the other part of the lazy girl job trend is basically, um they're saying that, it's good to have work life balance because a lot of these jobs that are like non quintessential, yes, you can
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
but a lot of these like, quirky jobs and out there kind of, not the everyday jobs. Like you, Tanya, you have an everyday job, like you're a lawyer. I have an everyday job, I'm a journalist. But like,
Yeah.
the jobs where girls are basically working, and men obviously, and everyone else, jobs where people are working at home or remotely, where they
Mm-hmm.
do have time in the middle of the day to just kind of digital detox, take a break,
Right.
which I find ironic that they're posting the lazy girl, because I'm like, no, in your spare time you're like posting videos. But like the point of it was basically you have the time in the day to get some good work life balance.
Uh-huh.
And so lazy girl jobs might be a good thing. It may be a good sort of trend. So I wanted to ask you, you're a lawyer, you're doing super well. By the way, guys, she's like almost a partner, right? Like almost. Are you already a partner? You're doing like she's a rock star basically at her law firm. She does a really good job. Anytime I have a question like, oh my God, Tanya, I missed the red light. What do I do? Like I will call her and she'll be like, don't worry, don't worry. So she is a super successful lawyer. But Tanya, I wanted to ask you, like,
Mm-hmm.
do you see like from when I guess we were interns, right? Which is
Mm-hmm.
maybe we entered the workforce. So I'm a millennial, and I guess you're Gen
I am too.
Z.
I am too. I'm old
Oh,
now.
oh, you're a millennial too. Okay, great. But we entered the workforce maybe 10 years ago, right?
Right.
Like now you're about mid management. I'm
Mm-hmm.
about mid. Well, my role's a bit different, but I'm about mid management too, I guess, in years of experience.
Mm-hmm.
I see a huge trend, like a huge change from when we were interns to now.
Absolutely.
In that, yeah, we do have a bit more spare time, but are we using it wisely? Like, are we, because we're always on our phones. Like we're always
Right.
I'm a sucker for these Instagram reels. I don't know how I've got sucked into them. I was one of those people that said, no, I'm never gonna do this. And now I'm like one of them. And I even show like my husband Ankit. I'm like, hey Ankit, look, and I spam
I
you as
never
well, right?
claimed.
Like all my friends
I
have like 3, 4 Instagram reels for me every day.
I honestly never claimed to like stop using the social media because I knew it's a tough ask. So I never really made those promises to myself. And I hear where you're coming from about the entire objective of a lazy girl job, and it's essentially for having a healthy environment, a healthy work environment. It essentially talks about probably a remote work environment or a hybrid friendly work environment, and essentially a good pay, right? And the
Do you
the
see that
high level
happening
of
at your law firm?
no, I think it's a little difficult for lawyers. And I
No.
also feel it comes from a place of privilege. I'd say it for myself. I can't, of course, comment for anyone else, but I feel work life balance and having a work life balance also comes from a place of privilege. And I think I'm guilty of it as well. But a job or a profession which is thriving on crisis, let's say a doctor's profession or a lawyer's
A
profession,
journalist.
a journalist, right? Like, and there are so
Manipur
many
riots. Let's go.
exactly.
We're
So
in
I
business.
think we don't
It's
have
so
we
sad,
don't have
actually.
that choice, right? Like I think
Yeah.
in most cases you don't have that choice. But I think
Yeah.
what you can do is probably make smaller, efforts in ensuring that you don't get burnt out. You're enjoying your work to the extent possible, and there are a lot of different ways of ensuring that. You can
Yeah.
time box, you can use the Eisenhower mode matrix that's there for time management. So there are a lot of different ways. I mean, there's an entire industry which is thriving on ensuring punctuality with people. They're like
Oh God.
smart watches, clocks,
Speaking of
phones.
that, I saw this
Yeah.
video the other day on time blindness.
Uh-huh.
And look, just as a precursor here, guys, we are not mental health experts,
Uh-huh.
but there's this question from Navneet. What do you think about false allegation cases of about males in India? That's a whole different topic, but I kind of want to take a little bit of context out of that. So thanks, Navneet, for putting that down. But there was this video going around of this girl claiming that she had time blindness and basically saying that, look, like I'm just late and it's not my fault and like everyone needs to understand. And
Mhm.
I know that things like time blindness, excuse me, things like time blindness and a couple of other things that have come out in the workplace, like new things to be aware of, I guess.
Mhm. Mhm.
They stem from real mental disorders like
Yeah.
autism and a couple of
ADHD.
others. Yeah. So
Mhm.
but I honestly feel like, and I'm just gonna say it right here, like if you do have one of those disorders, obviously, then it's understandable. But I feel that a lot of people are just taking advantage of it and saying, "Oh, like I have time blindness. I'll see you at 11:30."
Yeah.
And like while the rest of us are driving to Gurgaon in like
Mm-hmm.
2.5 hour heavy traffic, these people are
Uh-huh.
just kind of like waking up, rolling out of bed because of time blindness and like
Yeah.
coming to work and being like, "Oh, sorry, I have time blindness. My bad. Oops." It's crazy. Like this is what's
Exactly.
happening. So what is your take on this? And what do you think the future of, well, I know you can only talk about like your law firm or law firms in general, but if more and more people start doing this, like what do you see happening, Tanya, especially in your field for law when like I think you need to talk to the clients on time, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I think before I say anything, I'd like to caveat this by saying that I am not a mental health professional. So
Yep.
everything that
I got
I
you.
say is going to be from my personal opinions and experiences. On a lighter note, when I read about time blindness for the first time on a blog or something, I think the
Oof.
first thing was, hey, this appears to be a lot like how I react on most cases when I'm
Huh.
not pushed for a deadline, or like, I don't have a client case to like deal with. I think I also am in a certain way facing the same issue. Probably, probably not with the same seriousness, but I think it's just laziness for me. That being said, I
It's
think
not
you're
time blindness, it's just pure laziness. Great.
it's just laziness. I think I'm really working hard on this. But that being said, I think I completely agree that there is a legitimate issue that there is time
Yeah.
blindness, and it's essentially a symptom which is mostly seen in a lot of other disorders like autism, like ADHD. These are the two
Yeah.
that I read about. Of course, there would be a
Yep.
lot more of these
There's a couple
symptoms.
more. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yep.
I completely understand that, and I hear that. But I think it's very important to also highlight that it's also becoming a trend, right? Recently, I also read that FOBE, which is phobe, I think that's how it's pronounced, which is fear of being early, is also
I
an
was
issue.
actually, see, before you said it, I was gonna ask the audience right now, do any of you know what phobe actually means? I have no I had no idea what phobe
I
meant
think
at
we're
all.
growing
I'm like,
old,
what is
Priyanka. I
this?
think I think we're growing old, Priyanka. We're not catching
We're
up with the trend.
millennials. We're allowed to be old at this point.
Yeah, yeah,
Like the Gen Z people, they say that they're old now, so it's fine.
exactly.
Gen
I
Zers
mean,
are
yeah,
growing gray hair, so it's okay. It's cool.
exactly, exactly. So I think it's also very difficult because now, it's becoming a thing, and everyone, for that matter, is using this as an excuse to be late, and
What is phobe
you know,
again?
it's fear
Wow,
of
I'm
being
really phobe.
late.
Fear of being fear of being
I
what?
think we know about FOMO, but phobe is fear of being early. So that's something new I learned, and I added it to my trivia.
How?
it's
Why
it's
why are people afraid of being early?
it's a thing. I think
That's what ifs.
we need to catch up to the society and like the trends that are going on right now, I feel.
I can't. I don't even want to keep up with them because I'm like, this must be like a sign of this is like our parents, right? Like, what is this? Ah, we don't care. Like I'm
Exactly.
becoming like that. I'm like, listen, this, I'm okay.
Absolutely. I'm like, it's okay, it's fine. And for a society which thrives on,
Yeah.
or considers punctuality as something which is, so important, it's engraved in our brains that, you have to be on time, reach 15 minutes early. For a person like that, I think to come to terms with
So,
with FOB and the changing societal trends and just catching up to it is something which is taking a while. But that being said,
I'm
I
gonna be a
think
total millennial. I think that Anne Hathaway in Devil Wears Prada had phobe.
yes,
Like that's when it sucks to be early, right? Because then you
yeah,
know that you're gonna get like 10 things piled on you, right?
yeah,
Maybe that, I don't know if any of you guys know what phobe or where this comes from, but I can see this. Like if your boss just gives like the first person he sees, hey, do this, do this, do this, then
yeah,
I mean that phobe I guess would make sense. But
exactly. Or like I mean, in a party where you come early and there's no one, like including the host, so you might
phobe,
not want to be there.
I
Yeah,
don't even
that's the
care. I'll just go and like sit. And I'll be like, it's fine.
exactly.
It's cool.
But that's us millennials then again.
Yeah,
So that's a problem. That's really a problem then.
there's no concept of phobe in any part of my body whatsoever.
I think, I think,
And
but
I'm
it
not
also
even
means
sure I
that you
ever
need
had
to.
fear of missing out at all. Like, I remember like well, I guess when I was in college, like, you just follow, like, I guess that was the early days of FOMO, right? Before FOMO
Uh-huh.
became a trend. But it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, the cool things to do are like skydiving and like, going traveling to an exotic country and then like, blah blah blah. But like, this is a whole other level. This is like FOMO in everyday life. And I do feel, which is one of the things I wanted to actually talk about. We're already at 15, so maybe
Mhm.
just another 5 minutes. But like, one person, Lambodar, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's a cool name and picture. He or she has actually said very few people enjoy the office. You always need something out of work to give meaning to your life. And it's so true. It's so easy to, like, everyone knows this, but like, very few people actually follow it. And I do
Yeah.
feel that, like, just being on digital and some of the symptoms associated with not giving yourself a digital detox once in a while,
Mhm.
um, adds to it, right? Like, I think I was a victim of it once, like where Monday I needed to do something, and then Tuesday I needed to do something else, and like Wednesday I needed to do something. And I'm talking about spare time. Like, okay, Monday
Uh-huh.
I'm going to read, and Tuesday I'm
Yeah.
going to cook, and Wednesday I'm going to play tennis, and Thursday I'm going to do like, and it just, like, by the end of the week, you were just exhausted and you weren't finding joy in any of the spare things that you were doing, which is the point of it, right? Like, do something that just gives meaning to your life and makes you happy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I feel a part of that was like FOMO, I guess, and like just being digital, like online all the time. So,
Mhm.
how important is it for you? And I know that, Tanya, you also work with a lot of, I guess, younger people, like interns and things in your office as well. I do too.
Mhm.
But I've definitely started applying, like, I love playing tennis. I think it's a great form. I hate doing like meditation, and I only do yoga for honestly stretching because my body gets super stiff after tennis, but I
Yeah.
love playing sport. You're off your phone for like an hour and a half. You're focusing on like something else. You're interacting with other people. You're focusing and
Right.
concentrating on the ball. Like, that's something that I would love to do. And I do it at least 3 or 4 times a week just to,
Mhm.
get my mind digital detox, right? No phone, no messages, nothing.
Exactly.
I have no problem playing tennis like 3, 4 times a week because I really love it. I don't
Mhm.
find the need to, like, oh, one day I need to go paint, and second day I need to, like, do pottery, and third day I need to play tennis.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are falling victim to this. So do you see your interns like getting into this sort of thing? Like, we just need to be cool and doing something all the time. Do you feel that digital is contributing to it? And what's the solution to this?
Well, I'll share a very interesting example with you. I recently met a law student, and
Okay.
this person was very, very impressive in the way he, explained the provision, etc. And I was like, wow, you're doing great, and would love to work with you eventually. And I asked him
Mhm.
a simple question: where do you get your daily dose of news from? And his answer was Instagram. And I think at that moment, I was like, there's a tremendous difference between how I consume news and how I would
Which
go
is the
about.
newspaper?
Exactly. And I was aghast. I was like, are you sure that's where you're getting all your news from? And he said, yeah. But when I went back and thought about it, I think the society is moving to a particular trend. So
Mhm.
technology is something which is catching up.
Mhm.
The Gen Z is now a lot more tech savvy than probably how we were, and probably if used in the right way, you can actually gain a lot from technology and
Yep.
use it to your advantage. I don't say that okay, don't go and use technology, go on a digital detox. I think there are tons of pros that you can get from being online and learning online. I think the
Mhm.
kind of exposure you can get, the kind of knowledge that you can get online, it's very difficult to probably get it offline.
Mhm.
So I think it's important to embrace technology. I think it's also important to understand how the Gen Z thinks, because if you have to
Yep.
work with them, you need to understand how their brain works and probably
Yep.
you know uh, rework some of your or unlearn some of the things that you used to do and probably
And
use
keep
that.
up with the trends like phobe.
Exactly, exactly. If someone's getting their news from TikTok, I mean, as long as they're getting the facts right, good for them.
Good for them. Yeah, exactly. Well, okay. So, Tanya, I just want to wrap up this podcast. And the way I want to do it is a little fun. I know
Uh-huh.
that, like, I don't want to do like those general tips for success, like dress well and blah, blah, like we already know that. Clearly, I don't, but you do. But maybe some creative ones, right? Like I would probably say tips for success if you're entering where I work in the journalism field, in the newsrooms, in digital,
Mhm.
is number one, I would say answering your email once in the morning. I would say maybe once in the morning and once in second half is actually sufficient enough. This is what
Mhm.
a lot of offices say, and the most successful CEOs just check their inbox once or twice a day. I know a lot of people just have it on default, like their email inbox, they just have it on, but it has been proven to grow people's anxiety levels.
Uh-huh.
So, one tip for success that I would give to everybody watching and everyone that will watch this podcast is check your email, I think, just twice a day.
Mhm.
And always make sure, like when you're looking at a screen, because I work in digital, so we're looking at screens like hardcore. I know you are as well, Tanya, but like when you're looking at like the editing board and the screen, like you're really looking at it and nitpicking for like finer things. Your
Hmm.
eyes actually don't blink when you're looking at the screen online, right? So
I'm partially blind, so
yeah, I mean, and like the problem with glasses when you're on screen is like it reflects the teleprompter, it reflects everything that's in front of you, right? So I would say like, the trick for that, which I've told a lot of my interns especially, because they're literally like looking like this and like checking to see if everything's okay on the screen because you have to, is like, if you're doing that, time yourself, put a timer on your phone for 10 minutes. And then after 10 minutes, just look away or like go downstairs for a walk and come back up and do it. Let your eyes kind of readjust and
uh-huh.
eat a lot of carrots because that actually helps a lot too. So
That does.
save the
That
eyes, save your eyes.
does.
What about you?
Absolutely.
Are there like one or two tips that you can give?
Yeah, I think one is which remains consistent through the years is be confident. That always works in the workplace. Be confident of what you know and who you are. I think it also works in, I think a lot of your viewers would also be applying for jobs or applying for admissions abroad. I think that's something which is key when it
Yep.
comes to, know yourself, have confidence in yourself. Uh, be the best version of yourself, and I know this sounds very very cliched, but do things which make you happy. I think that really
Yeah.
helps in having a good professional life as well. If you
That's
are
nice.
happy
One guy
inherently,
is I do martial arts as recreation every weekend. Yoga or
I used
stretching is
to.
daily for 10 minutes. That is respect.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
And try different things. I mean, you can try martial arts on one weekend and probably go sing the other weekend. I'm pretty erratic when it comes to that. So,
Yeah.
try different things. I think it always works, and always be receptive to people. In a world that we live in right now, I think it's very important to be receptive, have a high EQ, know what the other person is saying, listen. I think
Yep.
most of the jobs in this
That's a good
world
one.
will be easier if you just listen properly. So yeah,
That's so true. I think wars would have stopped if people just listened properly. To be very
absolutely,
honest.
absolutely.
But that is a whole other topic.
Uh-huh.
So before people get FOMO or phobe, I guess we will end this podcast. Thank you so much, Tanya, for joining us. It was really
Thank
great
you.
to talk to you. I hope that you can come on as a guest in the future for more topics. And thank you all for your comments, for joining. And I hope that if you haven't watched this podcast live, please do leave your comments and let us know what you think, as well as topics that you want both Tanya and I to talk about. I'm going to try and it took forever to get you on this podcast. Now I hope that we can make it a more regular thing. Did you have fun?
I did. I did. I hope
Awesome.
you're asking me, or was it the other people? I don't know. I had
I'm
fun.
sure
I mean,
everybody had fun, and I'm sure that we got something out of it. Like I think somebody else also did not. Oh, Simple Life. He didn't know what phobe is because probably Simple Life you were doing meditation and yoga and probably doing something meaningful. So kudos to you. And Sudhindra, I really hope that you coming in early and feeling alone is a sort of phobia. That's what he said. So phobe is real, but hey, like it's one of the most important things is also just be comfortable with yourself, right? Like I
Exactly.
honestly, I don't
I
care.
don't mind honestly being early
Yeah.
if I can.
Like if
I
I
love
just walk in a restaurant and like none of my friends are there, I'm like, okay. Like it's rude to I feel order before your friends come and if they're on their way. But then like if you ask them like, hey, if you guys are taking 40 more minutes, like let me just get,
I'll order my cappuccino.
exactly.
That
All right,
works.
cool. Hardeo
Perfect. Thank
Patel
you
is like,
so
what's happening here? Hardeo, we're actually trying to end the podcast. So I think let's end the podcast. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. We'll see you
much.
next time. Until next time, this is Priyanka and Tanya signing off. Namaste,
Bye.
guys. Bye.